Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all our partners attending all over the globe. We welcome you all to this network briefing for Myanmar's earthquake. I am Claudine Talaran from the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation's Operations Center, and this briefing is co-hosted by the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation and Connecting Business Initiative, and we hope to share critical updates and see where we can possibly augment support in these challenging times. As we stand with the people of Myanmar and Thailand, our swift action, coordination, and collaboration is paramount. Without much further ado, I'll turn the floor to PDRF's president, Mr. Butch Maley, to give us his opening message. Over to you, Butch.
In 2016, with the support of the UN's Connecting Business Initiative, PDRF sent a representative to Myanmar to help them start their own private sector disaster management group. In return, the Myanmar Chamber of Commerce sent a delegation to visit PDRF. They met with our co-chair, Manny Pangilinan. Today, we have a chance to hear first-hand reports from the Myanmar Chamber of Commerce in terms of what is happening there on the ground. Private companies such as First Gen and Apex Mining have already deployed search and rescue teams to Myanmar as part of the Philippine government response. The Philippine Medical Association and Makati Med are prepared to send doctors and nurses to assist the victims if the Myanmar government will allow it. Philex Mining is assembling a search and rescue team. Ever since PDRF started in 2009-2010, we have faced many kinds of crises, both here in the Philippines and overseas. We sent clothing to Afghanistan in 2023 and a search and rescue team member to Turkey after a major earthquake that same year. We spoke to the Puerto Rican government about sending help after their big storm in 2017. We helped the country of Dominica, an island nation, in forecasting their weather. In addition to Myanmar, PDRF sent representatives to Fiji, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Panama, and we will be sending a team to Ecuador later this year to help them start their own private sector networks. 2 weeks ago, a PDRF team, including EOC Director Arnel Capili and Trina Aspuria, spoke at a Connecting Business Initiative event in Istanbul. Our Executive Director, Veron Gabaldon, and I just returned last night from a Humanitarian Networks Partnership Week in Geneva, where people from around the world praised the Philippine private sector for its leadership in responding to calamities. Bill Luce, our Chief Resilience Officer, presided over a climate summit here in Manila just last week. Through it all, there's been one constant. We want to help people who are hurting, both here and overseas. And we will continue to do so, because as the poet John Donne once said, "Do not ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, Butch. Let's also have Bill Luce, PDRF's Chief Resilience Officer, to give us a message. Bill?
Be able to help all those we can help, especially those who are our neighbors right here in ASEAN. I think we should also step back and take a look at what can we learn from the earthquake. I think it was unexpected. It came, it hit a region which is not really um, in a zone that is expected to frequently feel earthquakes like the rest of us, some of us in ASEAN. But I think it's a lesson for all of us that we can look at, not only for Myanmar and for Cambodia and for Thailand, but those of us outside in the rest of ASEAN who are in a more active zone and taking a look at this magnitude, potential magnitude of earthquake, that hopefully we can also learn what we can do to uh, not only be resilient and bounce back versus an earthquake, but how to properly respond as well. As we speak, there's a Philippine contingent that was been sent out yesterday morning, and then another team early this morning. As Bush said, we have some private sector people uh, forming part of that team, including the probably the foremost search and rescue expert who comes from the private sector, who joined the team yesterday morning, and we were able to talk to him. Um, we had hoped to get some reports from him today, but they are understandably quite busy. But know that we're trying to do all we can to help Myanmar. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill and Butch. Your presence, the PDRF presence, is really paramount and critical in the forefront of all what's happening in Myanmar. And now I'll turn the floor over to Arnel Capili, who's really reporting from the PDRF Operations Center all the way in Clark, Pampanga, to give us a brief overview on what's happening, global happening in Myanmar. Over to Arnel.
Thank you, Claude. Good afternoon, and Mingalaba, as the people of Myanmar would greet you when you arrive in Myanmar. Mingalaba. This afternoon, we'd like to give you an overview of what is the situation on the ground. But apart from that, we are providing this briefing because we want to be able to give you show our solidarity with the ASEAN member state, particularly Myanmar, which shows our spirit as the ASEAN would say, one ASEAN, one response. And we want to be part of that call for assistance. Number two is we'd like to show our support as well to the Philippine contingent, the response of the Philippine contingent to Myanmar. And this is our way of telling the world how the Philippines responded and how we can further support the response efforts in Myanmar. And this will be our way of highlighting the needs and gaps in the current response and the situation in Myanmar. But before that, if I may, I'd like to give you some context of the country of Myanmar. Myanmar is a country with 57 million in population. Buddhism is the religion of the majority. There's a small number of Christians and Muslims, particularly up north. The Myanmar is the sixth in World Risk Index because of exposure as well as capacity. There are a lot of hazards in Myanmar. Cyclones coming from the Bay of Bengal, earthquakes, as we have seen. And right now, there's an ongoing political situation and security issue because of this crisis that's happening now. So those are some of the challenges that the country is facing. And as you can see on your screen right now, Myanmar several countries are sharing boundary with the country of Myanmar. Towards the southeast is Thailand and Lao PDR. Towards the northeast is China, and towards the northwest is the country of Bangladesh, where they share a very porous border, which is the Cox's Bazar and Rakhine State up northwest of Myanmar. So we're certainly one of the flashpoints in the recent issue with the repatriation of some of the displaced populations in northern Rakhine. So this is the entire country of Myanmar. And you can see here the Yangon Airport is down below, where the former capital of Myanmar Yangon Airport is currently operational, as we have heard, and then this will be confirmed later by our colleague who is currently in Yangon. There are some indications that that Nipiro, which is the new capital of Myanmar, has also been affected by the earthquake. And the Nipiro Airport right now, we've heard earlier, and this will be confirmed as well, is that it is operational, but only for relief assistance coming in to support the response operations. The heavily most affected area would be up north, Sagaing region and the province of Mandalay. So these are some of this is the most heavily affected province and region of the country of Myanmar. And you can see here the shake map that shows you how the intensity of the earthquake was. The green one is the least one, the magnitude or intensity 5. Moving towards the epicenter, it gets bigger and more intense shaking. So this is where the Myanmar epicenter happened. Again, all the facilities here, we're hearing that about 80% of the infrastructure in Sagaing region are heavily impacted by the very strong earthquake. Next slide. You can see here on some of the issues that are currently being experienced by the province as well as by the country, as well as some of the operational constraints that are present on the ground. On your screen right now is a consolidation of is a heat map of some of the flashpoints, conflict areas, conflict points that we were able to gather. And this just shows you that the epicenter is one of the conflict areas that have been registered. And we have noted that as well. So that's something that we are aware of, that the ongoing conflict is hampering and giving some challenges in access of movement, access of communication. So that's something that we are aware of and we are dealing with in terms of providing that assistance. All humanitarian assistance, as we know right now, has to be coursed through the military government, which is being channeled through the Ministry of Social Welfare, Relief, and Resettlement. So that's the response where the government has to be able to manage and control all the international assistance coming in. And they tell us where those assistance are supposed to be going and which areas need to be provided. So this is the map, and that shows you where the conflict hotspots are in relation to the epicenter in Myanmar. Next slide. Now, going on to the impact, I'll not go into the details, but you will see the impact both in Myanmar as well as in Thailand. Right now, we have noted that there are about more than 2,000 deaths already being registered by the international community, with 4,000 plus injured, and there's still about 400 currently missing under the rubbles after the earthquake and in the immediate aftershocks that are happening. Thailand is not badly damaged as compared to Myanmar. So Thailand has already mentioned that they have enough capacity to be able to manage the consequences of the earthquake in the country of Thailand. Next slide. The ongoing response, we noted that there are a lot of search and rescue operations going on in support of the local response teams who are dealing with the crisis right now. You see all the countries that have provided their response: medical teams, urban search and rescue teams, relief and medical supplies are coming in. Diplomatic and coordination efforts are being provided and supported by ASEAN and the United Nations. And we have a colleague from AHA Center who will give us an overview of the ASEAN response, Myanmar being part of the ASEAN family. And also we've noted the pledges for financial assistance coming in from the countries that are mentioned here. That's the situation now. And I will call on Jan Uzong to be able to give us some overview of the situation in Myanmar, as well as how the private sector is doing. Ujan is from the Chamber of Commerce of Myanmar, and he is currently in Yangon. So Ujan, over to you.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to the PDRF. As well, so you are really concerned about all our Myanmar people who is suffering of earthquake disaster area. They're also very initiated and organizing all the Mr. Bush. So who, they contact me to me had the support to the Myanmar people. So currently, so your presentation also almost, all the information you indication in the presentation. I will little bit highlight about all the, the suffering area, especially the earthquake is affected on the three main city and one area. So the new capital city of the Nebido. So as you mentioned, they're not only for, the hospital and airport, but also the residential area, the road condition are the destroyed. So far, by experience of the yesterday, my day trip to the Nebido, so far they trying to improve of the road communication and telecommunication, but they had a lot of the problem and weakness. Mandalay and Sagaing is very vast because in the Mandalay, even though the temperature is more than the Nibiru because of a lot of the residential area and the 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 public building, the hospital, like the bridges, especially Sagaing and Mandalay, two bridges are totally, they destroyed. So nowadays we're using for the ferry for across the Aori River to the Sagaing. And then also the Shan State, Southern Shan State, yeah, call it the inlay area. Inlay area, scenic places are all the villages, all the residential are the lined out. So they are also, the under the doing all the emergency rescues. So doing by the one of the local, leading by the one of the local business owner, the Kamosa KBZ band, who is the owner of the KBZ band, so who are the in charge and doing all the activity. We support him for the in kind of the food and some medicine, some medicine, so to be had the proper arrangement in that area. By the yesterday, we got the international donation from to the Myanmar government. 48 the recruit flight landed to the Nebida airport. So today, food and the food and emergency, the equipment, about the 2010 of the food and emergency, response equipment. So those equipment under the management from the Ministry of Social Welfare, they are organizing and arranging to me, the support to that area. So at the same time, our UMSCCI, the Chamber of Commerce, also organized to the business sector. Yesterday, we are the first initiated also to we support and donation to the Ministry of Social Welfare, approximately the local currency around the 160 billion jack. So which is approximately the 50 million US dollar we donate as an initially. At the same time, we also preparation for the volunteer sector. So that means we like to facilitate and to have some sort of the damage. So all the bearing are the line down. We help them to remove all the bearing, the bearing with internal by human and machine, like the machine the wheel loader and the escalator. We are support to that area. Anyhow, the require in that three major city, even though they need a lot of the support from the government and international, the international, the organization. So in this case, look, from the personal side and from the UMSCCI. So anything the PDRF team or you are collaborated team coming to Myanmar, we try to facilitate and cooperate with the government, local government authority, to get the permission or to get the anything you need. We try to facilitate as much as we can. At the same time, I also would like to say that again, last the 2016, we had the chance to learn about all the PDRF activity, especially in the Tacloban and Maryland cyclone. So that time organizing by the UN OCHA in Myanmar. Nowadays, because of the political situation, the UN agency and other international agency are not so active in Myanmar. So in this case, so whatever, so you can make the facility and to support us. So please feel free to support, and we are private sector willing to to facilitate so as much as we can. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, John. Definitely, again, the briefing is here, the network is here, and we are here to support you, and you're not alone facing this situation. But we're catching from your report that the businesses have also been mobilizing efforts, and as well as the government. And so thank you for giving us that update. And then we'll just have to hold on with the questions in hand. So we'll have them in the question and answer. But I'll hand over the floor to Miguel Garcia, also reporting from the PDRF Emergency Operations Center, to now discuss what has the Philippine government has been doing in terms of response, and what are the identified needs and gaps that we have gathered since the onset. Over to you, Miguel. I'm sorry, I think Miguel, you're on mute.
Okay. Thank you, Claudine and John. So these are the data that we have gathered from partners in the UN, the Red Cross, and the ASEAN. And even before, when the earthquake happened last Friday, more than 20 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance in Myanmar. So, that paints a really grim picture of how big the emergency is. Based on the data, urban search and rescue is one of their biggest, most urgent needs, and a lot of the countries have already responded. We also, the Myanmar also needed medical assistance a lot, especially specialization centered around mass casualty management, surgical care, blood transfusion, and mental health and psychosocial support, and also wash facilities. And even before the earthquake, they needed a lot of wash support, where UNICEF has been helping. But from the reports from our partners, what we've noticed is there's a lot of gaps. And one of the biggest gaps is in telecommunications. Because of the earthquake, power and telecommunications infrastructure were damaged. And even before the earthquake, there were some limited infrastructure in several areas in Myanmar. And that hampered a lot of the urban search and rescue operations, retrieval operations, and coordination between different groups from different countries that have responded to the call. And another support that is needed is on debris clearing, which have plagued the several areas going into Naypyidaw and Sagaing, because the infrastructure has been badly damaged, and there were also reports of conflicts prior to the earthquake that have damaged critical infrastructures and road networks, which have hampered a lot of the relief operations. Can you go to the next slide? So this is the snapshot of what the needs are in the major regions in Myanmar. Where in Mandalay, water, food, medicines, and shelter repair items are needed. In Sagaing, food and medication. Southern Shan State, shelter, water, and non-food items are needed, and also mental health and psychosocial support. And that also reflects in the area of Naypyidaw. Next slide, please. And this is the response of the Philippine government and the Philippine private sector to the call for assistance of the Myanmar government, where the Philippine government deployed 90-person medical assistance and USAR team, which is composed of the members from the armed forces. We have members from the private sector, which we have currently in the room, some of their companies. And Globe, which is a partner of PDRF, have also activated free roaming credits in Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and other areas in the ASEAN region to support people that have Filipinos and other subscribers that have been affected by the telecommunications interruption. So this is the general picture of what is happening, and a lot is still a lot is needed, and we need to we there are the ASEAN and the UN is working with the military government to coordinate everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for highlighting what the Philippine government and the private sector here in the country has been doing, supporting the people from Thailand and Myanmar. But we also have someone from the AHA Center also to give updates about what the ASEAN countries have also been doing in support of the ongoing situation. I'll turn the floor over to LA Di Mailig from the AHA Center to give us some updates. Over to you, LA.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick one from the center. I think earlier, Parnell already updated with regards to the casualties over there, and what we are seeing is over the past few days, the numbers are increasing. And this is, of course, something that is expected given that the nature of the situation is an earthquake, and given as well that the USAR operations are still ongoing. Now, with regards to the member state support, currently several countries in ASEAN region has already responded. One of the first INSARAG classified teams to arrive on the ground is actually the Singapore SCDF Operations Lionheart, and they are still in Myanmar right now conducting operations. They were closely followed by Malaysia, another INSARAG heavy classified team, and also by Indonesia, which is a medium INSARAG classified team. In addition, of course, Thailand, Lao PDR, Vietnam, and the Philippines also sent user teams. And along all of these countries also has mobilized EMTs and some relief resources to support Myanmar. Now, with regards to relief resources, currently there are 6 items identified by Myanmar that are urgently needed. These are tents and tarpaulin, given that the situation is that the houses are totally damaged. A lot of houses, especially in the big cities, are totally damaged. So the displaced population need to have temporary shelters. And in addition to tents and tarpaulins, solar lamp also is something that they are in need, given that the electricity in those big cities are still not stable. And jerrycans is also one of those that is needed to support the wash requirements, as well as kitchen sets and hygiene kits. So again, the 6 items are tents, tarpaulins, solar lamps, jerrycans, kitchen sets, and hygiene kits. From the AHA Center side as well, we have mobilized, of course, our DELSA items from Subang, Malaysia. As we speak right now, there are 2 aircraft supported by the Singapore Air Force, bringing in additional DELSA items to Myanmar. This is in addition to what we have already mobilized a few days back. Earlier, there was a mention about Naipitao Airport. It is confirmed that Naipitao Airport is already operational for emergency purposes. So the user teams that arrived in the past few days use Naipitao, as well as the relief resources that are still coming. They are all diverted to Naipitao, since this is the closest big airport that is closest to the affected areas. The Mandalay Airport still, based on the latest updates, still not operational. With regards to ASEAN ERAT, we have also mobilized the ASEAN ERAT. Currently, they are in Naipitao, and they will be moving to the affected areas in the next few days. We have ASEAN ERAT from all the ASEAN member states are currently deployed. And with regards to private sector, we currently are receiving support from DHL as well as with international SOS. This is all with regards to humanitarian logistics. And currently, we're also talking with some of our airline partners to look at the possibility of bringing cargoes into Myanmar. So these are some of the information that we could share as of now. And of course, we are joining this meeting to also see whether there are potential areas for collaboration that we could have with PDRF, with CBI, and the partners that are in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, LA. That was comprehensive, but just wanted to highlight again what LA has mentioned in terms of the main priority or supported the Myanmar and the Thailand countries would be more on wash items, hygiene kits, tents, tarpaulins, and jerrycans. So our network, both from the PDRF and the CBI network, is here and is ready to support whatever those items, what support for in this ongoing situation. Now, we also have our colleagues from the UN, the Connecting Business Initiative, to also give us updates on what the OCHA has been doing and also provide some updates. I'll call on Riza Neri, the Deputy Program Coordinator from Connecting Business Initiative. Over to you, Riza.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Claude. And warm greetings to everyone joining us today. As you've heard, as we've all heard, the earthquake in Myanmar has struck us at the time when communities were already facing immense hardship. And we've heard this from our colleague from the Union of the Federation or the Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce, OJONG. And today, I'd like to share how the UN is supporting the emergency response and what we're doing to mobilize faster and together with our partners, including the private sector, the local, regional, and global private sector businesses to reach those who are in greatest need. Now, the UN and our partners are swiftly mobilizing to deliver life-saving aid. We know that the State Administration Council has requested the international community support. So that was the trigger for everyone from the international humanitarian community to provide support to the humanitarian response. And so humanitarian organizations are rushing to help people in affected areas and are coordinating with frontline responders who are already there assisting those in need. As we've heard from Arnel and also LA, our colleague from the AHA Center, urban search and rescue teams or USAR teams have already been deployed. And it's great to note that the first who were there were actually from the ASEAN neighboring countries. So really an embodiment of the one ASEAN, one response. And we know that there had been other medical teams as well who have been deployed to support the people affected by the disaster. Now, from the UN, specifically from the UN's humanitarian agency or UN OCHA, we have set up a rapid response team comprising of UN members coming from different agencies and other humanitarian organizations that have been deployed since last week to support the humanitarian response through the resident coordinator and humanitarian coordinator, Mr. Marco Luigi Corsi. And right now, they are conducting what we call a rapid needs assessment across several townships in Mandalay, in Sagaing, as well as Nipitao territory. Now, that needs assessment is very critical to make sure that we know exactly what is happening on the ground and how can local, regional, and global private sector actors can help. Now, what I want to share with you is that Myanmar has what we call a humanitarian needs and response plan. So this is a plan that articulates what we call a shared vision of how different actors, be it the UN, humanitarian agencies, and even private sector actors such as yourselves, can respond to what is needed on the ground and how many people are retargeting. But now we know that the recent earthquake has intensified an already dire humanitarian situation in Myanmar, because we know that even before the earthquake, nearly 20 million people, or 1 in every 3 people, were already in need of humanitarian aid driven by conflict, hunger, and curtailed access to public services as well as economic upheaval. And what this means is that the earthquake will only magnify already critical humanitarian needs, especially among people most in need of assistance. And so at this critical time, And I guess this is the essence of why we're all here together. The Myanmar people urgently need the world support. And you can see here on the screen, we have set up through our emergency relief coordinator, or OCHA's Undersecretary General Tom Fletcher, has made an initial allocation of $5 million from the UN Emergency Fund to support life-saving assistance to the earthquake. The UN Central Emergency Response Fund has also has also allocated funding to support local partners working with the communities affected by the earthquake. Now, we have set up what we call a UN crisis relief page to ensure that donations to support life-saving assistance are promoted, and also that this is made even more aware, that other actors are made even more aware that we're doing this to support those who need it the most. Now, Claude, Butch, and the others have mentioned about the Connecting Business Initiative, or CBI. So CBI is a joint initiative by OCHA as well as the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. Now, us, the CBI, we are part of OCHA's private sector unit. And as the unit in charge of facilitating engagement with global and local private sector actors, what we're doing is we're responding to inquiries and requests for donation, as well as in-kind and other expertise and resources or resource support from global private sector partners, because everyone really does want to help. Now, while there is no CBI member network in Myanmar, like in the Philippines, the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, or PDRF, as we've heard from Arnel and others, was asked to join the official Filipino search and rescue team by the government of the Philippines. So out of the 90 member contingent that was deployed by the Philippine government, PDRF mobilized or facilitated the deployment of a group of 15 private sector representatives who are now in the ground in Myanmar, supporting search and rescue efforts as well as medical operations. And I know the PDRF is assembling a second cohort of doctors and nurses from their corporate members. And again, CBI stands ready to support this deployment. And again, many thanks to PDRF for facilitating this connection with the Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, with Ojang on the line. That's it from our side. Thanks a lot again to everybody who joined this briefing. Over to you again, Claude.
Thanks, Riza. So this is now the time that we can accommodate questions. So I'll hand you back over in the platform, but I'll also like to call on Arnel and of course with you, Riza, to moderate the Q&A. So feel free to raise questions or clarifications. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Claude. All right, everybody. Thanks to your generosity and interest to help out the people of Myanmar and also those who have been affected in Thailand, we open the floor for questions from the private sector. We've heard from our colleague Ojang from the Union of the Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce on what they've been doing, and as well as what the PDRF network has been doing to support the government response. I see on the line as well other CBI member networks from Sri Lanka and Madagascar who have joined us for this briefing. Opening the floor for questions. I see in the chat, maybe just to get us going, I see in the chat the comment here that there are 4 Filipino teachers who are missing in Mandalay. And thank you for sharing that information, and we'll make sure that we coordinate with the relevant authorities. PDRF will be handling this engagement, and given that there is a Philippine government mission on the ground supporting the humanitarian response.
Riza?
Risa, John has a comment on that.
Go ahead, Dojong.
I were checking it with in the Mandalay we had the Mandalay Chamber of Commerce Industry. So in this case we were trying to may have the update the status of those who we were missing at there. So after that I will come back to you the booth.
Riza, I have a question for Ujan.
Yeah. For me is I like to facilitate what kind of do your guy need to assist or what kind of you need to get the information. Yeah, that is my main concern. Yeah, so you know because of for me personally I'm not aware because I had the experience on the cyclone and also the landslide and water flood. The accurate is even though I don't know yet how to go into to make the the even though I did it aware on the SOP, no. So in this case, even though difficult to me had the questionnaire to your guy.
Riza, can I ask question?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Ujan, I have a question for you. I mean,
Please.
looking back, Cyclone Nargis, if I remember it right, in 2018, 2008, it was
2008 and 2015.
2000 Cyclone Nargis also happened on the month of April. So I'm just,
Yes.
I'm thinking about April is not a good month for Myanmar. But my question really is, if the private sector is going to offer assistance to Myanmar, what would be the modality? Should we do it with the state administrative government, or can we do it through the Chamber of Commerce and you can facilitate that support from the private sector? Thank you.
Yes. So you can. This is an optional by you. You can also direct dealing with the Ministry of the Social Welfare. At the same time, you can also direct to get the assistance from the Chamber of Commerce. As our Chamber of Commerce, whatever even though you are direct dealing with the Ministry or the Social Welfare, we can make the facilitate. So any, the planning or any to get the approval, so we will direct the communication to the ministry, the department head or even the minister. So we can try to get even if you need the permission, we try to get the as early as possible. So as a UMSCCI channel, we are open the door, any, the local NGO or INGO, internet INGO, we like to facilitate. Whatever nowadays they need some area, they need the food and drinking water. We supply as our private sector. We supply we support the drinking water like we support the ready-made, the food step like the noodle and food step. So that we try to whatever the communication we try to support. To this evening also one of our group are going to Sagaing to know of this area, they are they are emergency need. Some people are going to Mandalay by the yesterday, so we arranged the send of the food, medicine, and food step. So that kind of facility also our private sector can support any people, not only for disaster people, volunteering people, they need any assistance. So that we can do. The main thing is communication. So most of the not only for telecommunication but also internet, because nowadays I can do the communicate with you or the guy because I just got back from the area to Yangon on the last night. So in Yangon the internet is okay, but the electricity is the only 1 day 4 hour 5 hour only. So we try to rely on the generator to get the electricity. Yeah.
Thanks, Ujong. Now, I see a couple of questions here in the chat. And this is for Ujong, I guess, and as well as perhaps LA from Center. So I'm just gonna read it. Question on whether pledges for support from the private sector in the Philippines. Well, sorry, this is more for PDRF. Is there a limitation on the accredited partners who can receive, mobilize support from the Philippine private sector? So I guess either Butch, Veron, Bill can come in for this. And Ujong, I think this is for you. Is local procurement from Myanmar businesses, local businesses in Myanmar possible, so that we lessen the cost of bringing in-kind contribution coming from outside, and it's better to just procure locally and support local business recovery in the process. So maybe we'll take the question for PDRF and then hand it over to Ujong.
Bill or Veron, but I'll just mention that I don't think there's a limit on help or any pledges of support. So happy to welcome any help or support, and we'll try to facilitate with the government and with the Myanmar Chamber.
So like the UMFCCI said, whatever you need, you are looking to the local, the procurement or the logistic, especially for the logistics. We were facilitate trying to make have the cost to cost basis. So in the case we had the nowadays logistic also the very this morning we are also facing with the logistic issue because the some of the trekking and some of the heavy truck cannot through to this area. We had we are using the small truck and those kind of the truck are limited in the Yangon and other area. But one thing that under the UMSCCI we had all the truck association under our UMSCCI. So in this case, we are trying to facilitate for, let's say we need the 10 trap for today, but we're trying to fulfill the 10 trap, but actually we try to get the 5 trap or something like that. So we are trying to allocate all the needs for the day-by-day business. So those kind of the logistic issue, the local procurement issues, we can facilitate. One thing we cannot do, like the power, the power. So in the case power, telecommunication and internet, yeah. Because
Thanks.
that is the power, all the the generator I think they all they run out because difficult to get the power generation. So that is one issue. In this case, what the PDRFT and the people they are going to arrange for the Kent, the rescue Kent, the one thing the power and then water. Water also we need to have the portable the water the treatment system for even though they're not only for drinking but also using water. That is a business needs. Yeah.
Thanks, Ujong. While we have you on floor right now, and before I move on to this question, I guess to AHA Center for LA. So just to confirm, the UMFCCI or the Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce can receive donations, whether financial or in-kind support from other private sector actors, whether from the region or internationally. And there's also a question whether the Chamber of Commerce, UMFCCI, are you, how do you mobilize and go to the affected communities? Are you the ones so providing or delivering response supplies to the affected areas? Maybe help us understand a little bit the operations. Thanks, Ujong.
UMFCCI also we are also the cooperation with the local NGO the volunteering group. So under the UMSCCI, so we had the local the volunteering people group like and then also we had the affiliated association in that area. So in the case like in the Mandalay, the region, we are communicating with the Manly CCI to get those kind of support to facilitate the support, the food and medical, the everything. So that is since the 2008 of the Nagin cyclone, 2015 of the landslide, and at the same time we also try to get the technical assistance from the UN OCHA and UNDP. So that also we are not doing the as our private sector alone. We try to collaborate with the UN agency and UN and UN agency, the organization. At the same time, we also we have to follow of the ministry of the social welfare guideline. So whatever we had the store and the funds, we also have to inform to we need to inform to the report to the Ministry of Social Welfare what they need, their emergency needed. We also doing to participate of their requirement. For example, they need the 10,000 the rice bag they need. For example, we have to immediately dumping their their located area.
Very clear. So we can course it through UNFCCI, and they have the networks and the local partners, as well as the partnership with UN agencies, with OCHA, UNDP, to do this together, and also ensuring that the government or the relevant ministries are informed. Now, I'm going to move to LA for AHA Center. LA, there's a question here. With the incoming monsoon season in the region, how does ASEAN, or particularly AHA Center, can help to prepare or support preparation for a possibly more complex emergency in Myanmar if in case something happens during the monsoon season while earthquake recovery is still in progress?
Thanks for the question. Just also to update that, just to share information that I think it was Cyclone Mocha in 2023, the last big cyclone that happened during May. So we take note of this, and all the information suggests as well that the monsoon season is really just around the corner. And with regards to the preparations from the ASEAN side, all the ASEAN mechanisms are operational. They are ready 24/7 all throughout the year. So that means the ASEAN EOC is always ready to monitor all of this information, even in advance, especially for the hydromet hazards, which was what we did back in May. 2 weeks before the cyclone even made landfall, we are already in coordination with DDM, and we already supported them with all the modeling to identify where this cyclone would impact specifically in Myanmar. In addition to our ASEAN EOC, of course, the ASEAN ERAT is always ready. We have our rosters every quarter, and currently, as I've mentioned, there are 21 ASEAN ERAT from outside Myanmar who are currently supporting in Myanmar, in addition to several who are in-country ASEAN ERAT in Myanmar. So this is also another mechanism that is always ready. The third one, and I guess this is something that there could be an area for collaborations together with the private sector, is the humanitarian logistics portion. So currently, we are seeing that the level of our stockpile in our warehouses are, of course, going down in anticipation of the continued support to Myanmar. So from the partner side, we are also in coordination with several partners, private sector from outside the Philippines, who are willing to donate relief resources that are needed by Myanmar. The AHA Center could facilitate that one. And currently, we are in discussions with several partners with regards to that support. And of course, the the commercial airlines as well. We are in discussion with them to discuss whether there could be some relief flights supported by the private sector. Currently, we're also activating all of the warehouses, the DELSA warehouses that we have in the region. Currently, primarily, we're using the Malaysia warehouse. The Thailand warehouse is currently on standby, and the Philippine warehouse as well. Considering that currently the Philippines is still not, traditionally in the active time of the year, this is our second go-to warehouse if we need to mobilize more of the relief items. And this could be something that perhaps the PDRF and the private sector in the Philippines may want to look at considering, partnership. Considering that there's a possibility for us to mobilize items from the Philippines to bring it to Myanmar, that means that our stockpile in the Philippines, of course, will have to be used. Maybe the private sector might want to consider putting your stockpiles into our DELSA warehouses. So if it is needed to be mobilized, at least the ASEAN warehouse in DELSA has the necessary stockpile level. And I think lastly as well, something for the consideration of PDRF and the CBI. Of course, we welcome the stream of information. We would like to be updated of the support coming from the partners of PDRF in the Philippines and for the private sector partners outside the Philippines through CBI. If you could keep the AHA Center updated of all of this. This is to ensure that with regards to the support of our partners and the ASEAN, we are coordinated and that information is shared across the necessary stakeholders. I will be typing the email addresses in the chat box where you could share all of these reports. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, LA. Very clear from AHA Center that we from the Philippine business community from the region and as well as international private sector partners can support, particularly on logistics. LA mentioned the DELSA. For those of us who are not aware, the DELSA or these are the logistics hub or stockpile that are pre-positioned in different countries in ASEAN, in Myanmar, and in other countries as well. Now, I know that there is a question, and just to confirm, the Ojang here is our champion from the business community in Myanmar. And again, many thanks for joining us. The chamber can receive in-kind and financial donations and assistance, and they will be the conduit to support relief operations, working hand in hand with civil society, with other humanitarian agencies, with UN agencies as well, and in coordination with relevant government authorities or ministries. I know colleagues were at time, and before I hand it over to Veron, just to say thanks a lot for the questions. We will make sure to consolidate everything and include in a report after this event. Again, on behalf of the OCHA-UNDP Connecting Business Initiative or CBI, thank you all for joining us today and for the strong show of solidarity for the people of Myanmar as well as in Thailand. As we've heard during the briefing, the scale of the humanitarian impact is still unfolding. We're just in the beginning. So the UN through OCHA and its partners on the ground with private sector partners such as yourselves has already mobilized support for life-saving assistance through our response efforts. And again, what gives me hope amid all of this loss and uncertainty is the clear willingness of the Filipino private sector to help. And even the global business community, we've seen it time and time again in Turkey, in the Philippines, in Vanuatu, and today we see it again in your presence, in your questions, and in your readiness. And on behalf of CBI, we stand ready to support the Filipino private sector, the regional and global business community to help those who have been affected. And again, many thanks, Ojang, for joining us today. I'll hand it over now to Claude to help us wrap up this session.
Thank
Riza,
you.
sorry, Claude. Riza, I'd just like to add a question. Would it be possible, Riza, if the Chamber of Commerce can accept goods or funds, shouldn't we post the information, who the contact person is, and the address and the details of how people who may want to extend help through the Chamber of Commerce, how they can contact directly?
Yes, I will give you our all the detailed information. So how you can going to may have the band information. I can also arrange a kind of the brochure, the band information like the contact person, to receiving all the goods. So not only me, but also we were had the team. So I will support those kind of all the information to the booth. Yeah.
Yes, please, that would be very useful.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill, and then thank you, Ojong O, and of course, thank you, Riza, for moderating the question and answer. I'll not be too long for this one, but I would like to call on Ms. Veronica Gabaldon, PDRF's Executive Director, to wrap up and close this briefing. Over to you, Ms. Veronica.
Thank you, Claude. Before we close this session, we would like to take this opportunity to do a photo op. If every one of you can open your camera, let's have a quick photo op to document our briefing today. Over to you, Claude, for instruction.
Got it, Ms. Veron. I'll have, okay. For the first, let's just wait for the others to turn on their cameras. But I'll need the support of our TOSO unit. Okay, we'll have the photo in 3, 2, 1. Okay, on to the next one. And last, on to the next one. Okay, thanks, Ms. Veron. Over to you again.
Okay, thank you, Claude. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Private sector support is pivotal in crisis, and we have shown that time and again. And by standing with Myanmar's communities today, we not only save lives, but also strengthen our commitment to global social responsibility and sustainable development. So we have heard from our partners on the ground and the AHA Center about the current specific needs. And if you're interested in supporting the affected communities grappling with collapsed infrastructure, limited access to clean water, and disrupted healthcare, please contact us at PDRF to facilitate our collective action. I cannot overemphasize this enough. Time is critical, and together we can turn our compassion into action quickly. Thank you to our member companies, our partners from the Asian Preparedness Partnerships and Asian Disaster Preparedness Center for joining us this afternoon in solidarity. We will continue our collaboration with the different stakeholders in Myanmar and in the region to facilitate the response from the private sector. So for those of you who have joined this afternoon, you will continue to receive updates from us, and more importantly, the processes and the protocols for any of your response or your pledges to be directed to the communities in Myanmar. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Veron. So as we conclude today's briefing, may we just be reminded that we act on with urgency, compassion, and shared responsibility as we stand in solidarity with the people of Thailand and Myanmar. Thank you, everyone, and keep safe.
Thank you.
Everybody, take care.
Thank you.